Hello! So it's been a little while since you've heard from me. That's probably on account of me finishing my second feature film, which is really exciting. I've been working on that over the last year, editing it and reworking things, and we finally finished it. And it's been cool seeing like the community respond so well to a film a bunch of kids made. It's been really exciting, very rewarding, and I'm excited to share more about that on this channel. But for today, I would like to discuss the works of one Paul Thomas Anderson, with One Battle After Another being just like a huge critical smash. Like, everyone seems to be loving it. It's making, I wouldn't say like a huge return at the box office, because it didn't even make its budget back, but I am shocked that it's getting this much kind of buzz and word of mouth going around. I thought this would be cool to like go back and look at some of his work. Paul Thomas Anderson, for me, has never been like one of my favorite filmmakers. He's always been there. Like, even before I started making this video, I mean, I had already seen over half of his filmography, so I already had, you know, kind of a basic understanding of his work and his language. I've never been like super crazy about his films like some others seem to be. I have mixed feelings on him for sure, but I think overall he's a filmmaker I really admire. He's somebody that got started very young. He already kind of had an in because his parents already worked in the industry, but this was a guy that was super ambitious, full of life, and just kind of broke into the scene and just blew everyone away. So I'm gonna rank from my least favorite to my favorite. He has a pretty short but diverse body of work that will be cool to look back on. So let's start with number 10, Inherent Vice. This was the last movie that I needed to watch to prepare for this video, and I had a sneaking suspicion that this was going to be at the bottom of the list. Anything that I had heard about it, it just did not sound like my thing. It's like a stoner private detective comedy that takes place in the 70s. It's kind of goofy but loose, and that just didn't sound like something that I would totally enjoy, to be completely honest. But about 10 minutes in, I was starting to feel good about it. I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. I love the way it's shot. It looks gorgeous. And then it kind of just flies off the rails and becomes very convoluted. There's a million things happening. I don't love admitting this because it makes me sound stupid or like I wasn't paying attention, but this movie just didn't make sense to me. I was trying really hard to like keep track of all the characters and all the different plot threads, but it was just all over the place. And I know that's kind of part of the comedy, right? Like, we have our main character played by Joaquin Phoenix just kind of stumbling around on all these things. He's stoned like the entire movie, so I think the confusing, disorienting nature of the film works in its favor in some ways, but I think to craft like a mystery that's engaging, I just couldn't really get into it. A lot of the comedy is derived from Joaquin Phoenix just being kind of confused. You like cut to a shot of him and he's just like, what is going on? There are a couple of jokes here that I found like genuinely funny. I think the performances all around are very good, and again, like, this movie looks gorgeous, but at a certain point this movie just felt like noise. It felt like just total nonsense, and I just found myself drifting in and out. This has a lot of PTA's worst tendencies as a filmmaker kind of put on display. Yeah, this one just didn't work for me at all. I'm sorry for the Inherent Vice lovers out there. Number 9, Licorice Pizza. Now, I haven't seen this movie since it came out, so it's been a couple of years. My memory's a little bit foggy. Yeah, this one is also similar to Inherent Vice, a movie that relies a lot on vibes. Films like this can work, and they can resonate with me, but the disconnected nature of the movie, there's just something about it where it loses steam after a while. There is something fun and exciting and nostalgic about this character going on these fun, wacky misadventures and meeting all these charismatic characters, but after a while it gets very repetitive. And I just think for a film like this that is very vignette heavy, there's inevitably going to be sections of the film that you're just going to check out during, or you're just not going to be as invested in. Like, I love the part with Bradley Cooper, but then we have the whole thing with like Sean Penn on a motorcycle or something. All these stories like later on in the film, I just found myself increasingly getting more tired and just not as invested in the relationship unfolding, which there is also the elephant in the room, which is the massive age gap between the characters. It's definitely something that I don't think you needed PTA to step in and be like, no, this is morally wrong. But again, I think we could have needed a lot less of the intimacy, I guess physical intimacy between these characters. To me, it's just something that in retrospect, it's not that special. It feels like a filmmaker reminiscing about the good old days. Not really something I'm crazy about. Number 8 is Boogie Nights. I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me in the comments for this. Boogie Nights at its start is so fresh and so alive and so exciting. Paul Thomas Anderson was 26 years old when he made this movie. You can just feel the passion and the fervor. This seems like a guy that's just so hungry and passionate. Just from that opening shot, that long, iconic tracking shot, where it's just moving around and there's just so much life and energy. It's so well coordinated. It's insane. But once we kind of get our characters established, one of the biggest issues with the film, for me personally, starts to show. The film doesn't have a locked perspective. The Mark Wahlberg character is kind of like our audience surrogate, person that gets introduced into this world, and then we experience it through his eyes. But the nature of the visual language of this movie, where the camera is kind of like floating around, you're capturing these moments between these characters during these very long party sequences. At least for me, the moment I started to feel connected to somebody, the camera would just pan away and go somewhere else, and I was like, no, I was watching that. The whole like found family angle, you know, of like this group of misfits coming together would have worked so much more for me if they actually spent more time developing these characters. But the film seems more concerned with creating a rhythm, creating an atmosphere that's alive and energetic, you know? I respect the hustle, I really do, but what it really lacks is a human quality. It starts to feel repetitive after a while. There's just so many party sequences, so many montages. There was a lot of potential here, but for me, it just felt like a good first draft that just didn't come together in the way that I had hoped. It just kind of ends with all the characters coming back together, and there doesn't seem to be a ton of consequence. I feel like the first half should be this very exciting, propulsive film that just kind of like throws you in the middle of this situation, and then that second half is supposed to slow down, and you're supposed to get like more of the emotional stuff, and it's supposed to get sadder and darker. And it tries to go there, but it feels like it's just dipping its toe in the water and then pulls out. When Babylon came out a few years ago, and you know how I feel about Babylon, it was often compared to Boogie Nights. I was kind of excited for that when I was starting. I was like, oh, this is reminding me a lot of Babylon, so I was excited for that kind of energy. I think Babylon is just a better movie. I think it's taking all of the best parts of Boogie Nights, and then it's just doing it infinitely better. And the emotional stuff I just resonate with so much more than anything in this movie. Maybe I shouldn't be comparing these movies, it's just something that came to mind. So, I don't know, I think if you want to watch a film that's kind of about industry and community, I think Babylon is a far richer film and covers so much more than Boogie Nights does. But I don't know, it's a movie that I respect. Personally, I did not resonate with it. I am sorry. Number 7, Hard 8. This was his directorial debut. I believe he was 25 when he made this film. It is such an impressive directorial feature. It feels a lot tighter and more restrained than Boogie Nights, and I kind of prefer it to Boogie Nights for that reason. It just doesn't seem like it's biting off more than it can chew. I really love the setup here. I love the characters. You're getting some of the best actors in the game, like in one film together. They take a script that is fine. It's very student filmy, and they elevate it so much, and I think a lot of this does work because of the actors. But that's not to discredit PTA, who is just doing a really great job. I wouldn't say it's like a limited budget. I mean, he had a pretty decent budget to afford these actors, but with the limited spaces he's using and the limited locations, he's really making use of it. The tracking shots are gorgeous. There's kind of a hazy, dreamy quality to it that I really like. While it had a lot of limitations on what PTA could do, to me, this is a film that works really well. It's a solid flick. It's not like anything exceptional, but for a directorial debut, this is one of the stronger ones that I've seen. Coming in for number 6, Phantom Thread. Out of all these movies, to be completely honest, I'm not terribly passionate about Phantom Thread. It's not a bad movie. This is a very good movie. It's gorgeous. I believe this is the first film that PTA ever shot, like he was the DP on, and it looks stunning. The world is so detailed, the costumes, the environments, the performances are great. Daniel Day-Lewis, as always, is incredible. Vicky Krieps is given like one of my favorite performances in a PTA movie. Their chemistry is very good on screen together. Overall, there's kind of something disconnected and airy about this movie. I did watch this about 2 years ago. Maybe I should watch it again. I don't know. I mean, this is a movie that I respect. It's very gorgeous. The music is beautiful. It's one of PTA's finest works from a technical standpoint. It's just a movie I don't have a ton to say that hasn't been said already. It's a very good motion picture. Number 5. The Master. This was my first PTA movie. I watched it at the beginning of the pandemic. I was 15 years old, and I famously did not like this movie very much. I was young, I didn't really get it. I didn't have great media literacy skills. I honestly didn't even know that this movie was about a cult. I thought like Joaquin Phoenix just wandered on a boat full of a bunch of nice people and he was being kind of loud and they didn't like it. A lot of things just went over my head. It was confusing and disorienting and made me uncomfortable. I was actually very interested in revisiting this and seeing how it would connect with me. I rewatched this yesterday and I have to say this movie slaps. This film has some of the best performances I've ever seen on film. Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman giving like career best performances. Philip Seymour Hoffman specifically, I remember even watching this a few years ago thinking that is a guy, you know? It is a towering performance where he is so charismatic. Honestly, I would join that cult. Something I really appreciated about this film on a second watch was how direct it is with its themes. I remember first watching this movie and thinking, I don't get this now, but maybe down the road I will. Maybe this will make sense to me. And watching it again, not only did it make sense, this was actually like way less subtle than I remembered. These characters are very literal embodiments of the film's themes. Lancaster Dodd is supposed to represent power, control, someone that can domesticate. Freddy's like the polar opposite. He's aimless, he's uncontrollable, he's an animal. It's about a dog and its owner. It's really not a subtle movie at all, but I really do like that about it. It creates a very easy emotional through line. I really do buy the relationship between these characters. I know that they see something in each other. Weirdly enough, this is one of his sweetest films. This is definitely PTA's like most beautifully shot film. I believe it was shot on 70mm and it looks gorgeous. Even when I was 15, when I didn't have much taste, I even noticed then. I was like, yeah, this is probably the most beautiful movie I've ever seen in my life. It is a bit long in the middle, especially when we go through all those like tests and experiments with Freddy. Like they go on for a long time and I'm like, yeah, we probably don't need all of this, but there's just such an epic quality to it. It just feels so big. It feels so important. And I'm really glad that I decided to do this video so I could revisit this film because I really do like this movie. Number 4, Magnolia. This was PTA's third movie, and at this point in his career, his most ambitious film.
My idea was that that generally 3-hour movies and epic movies like this are reserved for war films or films of important, social topics. And I thought that it would be an interesting idea to take small relationships, sort of, will I fall in love? Can I go to the bathroom? Will my father, talk to me? This sort of thing, and put it in the context of an epic.
I really do like that approach. There's just something exciting and explosive about this. The music, the whips and the pans and the zooms. I mean, this movie just takes you along for a ride, and you're in from scene one. I mean, Tom Cruise is given like one of his best performances. A lot of people argue it is his best. I don't know if it's my favorite of his performances, but it's up there.
Respect the cock.
I think what makes this movie work a lot better for me than something like Boogie Nights, all the characters are purposely kind of disconnected, and then the storylines kind of converge later in an interesting way. There's kind of like this biblical quality to the movie. Being as long as it is, there are points where it just kind of runs in circles and gets repetitive, especially in the middle with the game show. We just keep cutting back to the game show, and it doesn't really seem like the movie's really going anywhere. That's kind of a theme with a lot of PTA's movies, to be honest. There is a repetitive quality where we're like, all right, we get it. And PTA admitted later that he would cut parts of this movie. I don't know, I also think it's kind of cool for someone as young as he was. I mean, like, he was like 29 when he made this, to be granted so much access and so much creative control. That's kind of cool. He's privileged for sure. Not a lot of people can do that, but still think it's pretty awesome. Number 3, One Battle After Another. This is his most recent movie. I think this is an excellent film. The first time I watched it, I was kind of thrown off by the pacing because it starts out kind of montagey. There's like this extended prologue where, scenes will last like a couple of seconds and it keeps cutting, and there's just kind of like a very urgent energy to it, and it's setting all these things up. Then once you get to the main conflict, Leo's on the run and he's looking for his daughter, and once that journey starts, the film starts to play out more in real time, and I like that a lot, and I think that worked for me a lot more on rewatch. This is all of like PTA's best qualities kind of put into one film. It is important, it's fun, it's funny, it's got a romantic, optimistic quality, but it's also very dark. It's a movie that's just doing so many things, and it works. I mean, this is a fiery, incendiary picture that is just relentless. This thing moves, it flies. One of my biggest gripes with the movie, I would say, is there is a lack of, development to some of these characters. Like Leo and the Chase Infinity character, who is really good in this movie, by the way. They're kind of just there to serve the story. The movie really exists for the journey, less about the characters. It feels like it's being written around an exciting setup. And I kind of wish we got a little more between Willa and Bob at the beginning of the movie, so we could establish that relationship more. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. You never really feel safe. The stakes are very high. These people are dangerous. You don't want to mess with these people, so I really like that quality of the film. I love this film a lot. It'll definitely be on my end of the year list, so I'll talk about it more whenever I make that video. Number 2. There Will Be Blood. This film is a masterpiece. To be completely honest, I have not seen this since 2021, and I kind of wish I revisited it. I think by far the best thing that PTA's ever made. The cinematography is lush and gorgeous. Daniel Day-Lewis is giving like top 5 best performances ever put on film. It's an insane performance. It's iconic for a reason. He is the real deal here. Daniel Plainview is a character that is pretty simple. It's a pretty straightforward character, but he's really able to give him layers and to elevate him in a very unique way. This is just a great, epic, classic film about greed and American capitalism, how the pursuit of wealth can eat someone from the inside out. It will stand the test of time. This is a great movie, but it is not quite my favorite. My number 1, it's still my number 1. I love this movie dearly. It's not his most ambitious film, but it's the one that speaks to me the most. Number 1, Punch Drunk Love. This is the film that I just connect with the most on an emotional level from PTA. It is so deeply romantic and sweet and tender. I am in love with the character Barry Egan, someone that is closed off and scared of the world and very nervous, but he also has such a warmth to him and a beauty to him. And also an anger too. There's a deeply rooted anger there. I see so much of myself in him in many ways. He's by far my favorite PTA character, without a doubt. Adam Sandler's performance is so captivating, and his chemistry with Emily Watson is remarkable. And the movie is very short. That's probably my biggest issue with the film, to be honest. I just wish I could spend more time in this world and with these characters. I also just have so much respect for PTA, going from like such a big, epic, ambitious project like Magnolia to making, this like 90 minutes rom-com with Adam Sandler. It's just, to me, that's so cool and such a cool change of pace. I mean, it really shows the diversity of his body of work. This is a movie about a guy that needs love in his life, that love makes him stronger. It is his superpower, and it sounds so corny, but it's so exhilarating to watch. I don't know. I mean, this is a movie that seems to just have like the greatest balance, I think, of all of his work. It's not perfect or anything, but it is a movie that I really do resonate with. And that's it. Through this whole thing, I've realized a lot about PTA as a filmmaker. I guess I never really noticed his signature things. I didn't realize like how much he was really using tracking shots until I watched all of his movies back to back, and I'm like, oh, this guy really loves a long take. I love his use of light. I love that when there's like light coming out of a window, there's always like a blue tint to everything. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. It's like the most extreme in Punch Drunk Love, where there's just blue everywhere. Overall, his films are very concerned with creating a feeling. And even now at 55, like I know there's so many more stories he could tell, so many exciting ideas he could bring to life. Thank you so much for watching. I know I've been rambling a lot. I didn't have anything scripted, so I was just like speaking from the heart, speaking from the mind. I hope what I said made any sense at all. I appreciate all of you for watching, and I will see you whenever I decide to make another video. This is Ethan Butler, and I'm out.